I was under the impression that we moved past the peak of cancel culture, which most people agree is around 2019 to 2021, maybe 2022. And everyone is talking about this cultural vibe shift. And everyone woke up one day and said, we don't like woke anymore. But the evidence shows that is demonstrably untrue. In the most recent episode of Love Island USA, one of the contestants went up to announce her departure from the show following backlash from a resurfaced post of hers on Instagram from years ago in which she used an anti-Asian slur. And when you see the source of this controversy, you will understand how flimsy the accusation truly is. You could have told me that she said anything and I would have believed you, but it wasn't this. So here was the original post. She said, Botox isn't for everyone, but I love it for me. I'm incredibly expressive with my face, and I catch myself frowning for no reason throughout the day when I'm focusing on something or thinking too hard. I can also be a little chinky when I laugh/smile. So I love getting a mini brow lift to open my eyes and get that snatched look. This is not me encouraging, but more so sharing. So people took offense to her use of the term chinky to describe the fact that her eyes squint when she smiles. This was years ago that she even posted this.
How old?
I believe
20...
a few years ago.
Okay.
That she posted this originally. And these posts got circulated around Twitter and caught the attention of producers on Love Island, and they confronted her about it. And although she didn't apologize directly for what she said when she made her departure from the show, and it wasn't explained, we can safely guess it was a pressured decision. So
by the studio.
They just said she left the villa due to a personal situation, and the other contestant with whom she had been in a couple with for several episodes was now officially single. So they didn't do any explaining beyond it was a personal reason that she left. But interestingly, earlier in the season, just a couple of episodes in, another contestant was kicked off the show for similar reasons. There were clips of this other contestant named Yulissa using the N-word while, I think, rapping. Like, she was quoting song lyrics from a rap song and said the N-word in an old podcast, and she ended up getting kicked off the show and issued a personal statement. She said, I want to apologize for using a word I had no right using. Podcast clips from years ago have resurfaced, and I want to address it directly. I used a word I never should have used, a racial slur. I used it ignorantly, not understanding the weight, history, or pain behind it. And just for context, this is a post from June 2025, not from June 2020. I thought that we had progressed as a culture past the point where we're posting an Instagram apology to a mob of people with pitchforks and torches. But we haven't.
Together, they should create their own reality show with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke also, like, he got kicked off of Celebrity Big Brother for making comments about JoJo Siwa's sexuality when, I guess, in reality, she wasn't a lesbian at all. But people are also pointing out another contestant named Huda had also posted TikToks mouthing the N-word to a rap song in the past. And not only is there a double standard, there's just no standard at all. Now, this girl, Cierra, her name is Cierra Ortega. She has been quietly, I think, kicked off of the show and is now detached from the social media backlash. Her parents have taken over her Instagram account to speak for her because this has gotten to a point where it's millions of people dragging her and tearing her apart, trying to ruin her life. They're trying to make it impossible for her to work with brands in the future. She's lost 250,000 followers on Instagram at this point.
Social media is a loaded weapon that anybody has access to all the time. The only thing, very few things are more dangerous than getting a large following and not understanding how that could affect you if things go wrong.
Everyone has thrown her under the bus. Other people on the show, people who have been on the show in the past, people who have public friendships with her have cut ties with her. And now her parents have posted this online. As Cierra's parents, this has been one of the most painful weeks of our lives. We've seen the posts, headlines, hurt, and hate. And while Cierra hasn't seen any of it yet, we have, and so have the people who love her. We're not here to justify or ignore what's surfaced. We understand why people are upset, and we know accountability matters, but what's happening online right now has gone far beyond that. The threats, cruel messages, the attacks on her family, friends, and supporters. It's heartbreaking, it's uncalled for, and no one deserves that kind of hate, no matter what mistake they've made. While Cierra is not in the villa anymore, she is still away. She hasn't had the chance to process any of this or speak for herself, but we know our daughter, we know her heart, and when she returns, we believe she'll face this with honesty, growth, and grace. While she'll always be our little girl, she's also a woman, one who will take responsibility in her own time and her own voice. Until then, we're simply asking for compassion, for patience, for basic human decency, not just for her, but for everyone caught in the middle of this. Thank you to those who've continued to show love, even when it's not easy. With love, her family. And they had yet to turn off her comments while people were still bashing her. And thankfully, they cared enough about her to shield her eyes from that. But
this is the same thing that we were talking about 2 weeks ago or a week ago when the fan at the baseball game said made fun of a player's mom who had died, and every single person was overjoyed to be able to be awful to this person because he said something that was, and I think it ended up being like it was like a your mom joke, and then people were saying that that it was like overblown, but that's not the point.
We have to ruin his life.
That's not the point. Even if it was the worst thing you ever heard, that's the point. People want to feel virtuous and righteous in treating people like awful people. They want to be mean. It's almost feels like human nature. They want to have that moral out to give them the ability to be awful to you while feeling virtuous doing so.
Right. It's like an ecstatic, euphoric experience to have the moral high ground in a situation like this, especially with
plays
thousands
to people's
of people
worst
watching.
impulses.
So now her social media manager has come out and said that he's cutting ties with her. And then another friend of hers who was also on the show said, I don't support her anymore. This is, so offensive. And then another contestant who is Asian named Isabel posted about this because she has the privilege to speak on such matters due to her identity. As a proud Asian American woman, I am deeply appreciative of the Love Island producers for taking a stand and making it clear that racism of any kind is not tolerated. When I first saw what my fellow Islanders said on social media, I was incredibly heartbroken, but I wanted to wait until they left and were able to address the situation, apologize, and commit to learning from the experience before deciding how our relationship would look moving forward. As screenshots continued to surface, it became clear that I could no longer support this person and made the decision to unfollow a couple of days ago. Oh, the horror. Asian hate is oftentimes overlooked and dismissed, but being a first-generation Asian American, I have personally witnessed and experienced how real and hurtful comments like these are. She's acting like Cierra, this other girl, posted on Instagram like, I hate Asian people and their squinty eyes. Like she never said anything of the sort. It wasn't even a targeted remark.
No.
But obviously the reality of what she said doesn't even matter anymore. And the point is to destroy her as a person, to deperson her. One person said she's lost her real life friends, her boyfriend.
And I bet you her real life friends don't even hate her. They just don't want to be involved with her because they don't hate her.
They just love themselves.
They're putting their own needs before hers, which is the human condition.
All of this in front of an audience of the most watched show right now. She won't get brand deals. This show has ruined her life. What more do you want? That is enough to destroy someone's mental health without sending them death threats as well. People have been doing too much. But here's the thing.
T-minus how long till she's at some turning point event?
They are issuing these warnings like, be careful what you say about this person because she might do something stupid. She might hurt herself. They're not realizing that the entire goal of canceling her is to encourage her to commit suicide. I don't even say that to sound sensationalist or dramatic. The goal of canceling someone is to first take away all of their personal relationships, take away their ability to make a living, and at last, the ultimate goal is for them to end their life. That is the goal. If this girl, Cierra, did actually take her life over this, that would be a happy ending for the people engaging in the cancel mob against her. And I think the people who are calling for a more common sense approach to this don't understand that. Like, they haven't really come to grips with the psychology behind cancel mobs before. And hopefully this is what's going to wake them up. But this reminded me of a thread on X that speaks about this general problem, which is being propagated by women, mostly against women online. And it says, we need to have a serious conversation about snark and the deep-seated parasocial contagion influencing women today.
I do hate snark more than just about anything else on the internet.
They're not just talking about a snarky tone. The word snark has now taken on a new meaning. Snark is actually a verb. When you snark someone, it means you have joined an online community which compiles everything they've ever said, everything they've ever posted, all of the names and details of people they have relationships with, in order to basically create a dossier on them, and then at a choice moment weaponize it and make it viral in order to destroy them as a person. So
these people would be great for the CIA.
These people, they start forums that are called, you know, for example, Cierra Ortega Snark, or Pop Culture Crisis Snark. There could be one for us. Every social media app is full of snark accounts that are next level crazy, and thousands of women spend hours of their days engaging in this nonsense. This is no longer celebrity gossip like the Y2K days of tabloids. These are insanely active online forum communities that spend an exorbitant amount of time and effort constantly auditing, surveilling, and mocking and stalking celebrities and minor influencers anywhere online. Think of it as a reverse stan. They're all driven by their hatred of public figures and obsess over finding ways to hate them, twist their words, and convolute every action. It's become a whole online industry, and it's extremely bizarre. What's fascinating is these are all far left-leaning people, and they snark every person through that lens. They audit decades of their lives, combing through any info to implicate that they maybe are racist, homophobic, transphobic, ableist, go down the list. You get the picture. It's a whole bigotry minority report on each person, and it's interesting to watch them dogpile certain people who don't kowtow to ultra-progressive views. They work to manifest smear campaigns that almost immediately end up viral on Twitter. They even mentioned Blake Lively as an example of that. So my whole thing is, why are they obsessed with these public figures being pure in their eyes, even auditing an actress who is 50 years old? Will they immediately disavow their fave if they're caught doing or saying something unwoke? Basically, this giant gaggle of women online are acting as brown shirts to control which famous person is approved or not. While leftist men are streaming and yelling into podcast mics, the women who are in online knitting circles, patrolling the internet and any celeb media, making sure that anyone who steps out of line is immediately brought to judgment and execution. And if you find the snark forums on Reddit, you'll familiarize yourself with the way they operate. There are also other forums. I think LolCow is one of them that's dominated by women. And these are essentially bored, stay-at-home housewives or welfare queens who sit on their fat asses all day, compiling old tweets,
or
compiling
they do it at work
screenshots,
at their email job.
Or they do it at work on their email job, yeah. And this is not just like their hobby that they engage in shamefully. It's like an entire job to them. And they believe this is their calling. This is their vocation.
Look at the
to expose people, even not just celebrities like a Blake Lively. No, like someone who's a nobody, basically.
Policing others' actions is the calling of the modern day leftist woman. Just look at Facebook mom groups.
But you also see it expanding beyond just women, because I think women online have created the mode of conversation.
Oh, plenty of people in politics do the same thing. This type of purity spiraling or purity testing goes on both sides, and it's pathetic then.
Yeah, the feminine, the toxic feminine mode of communication has been spread throughout the internet. So even men are engaging in this behavior now, where they're acting like bored, gossipy housewives. And the method, the convention for women, even in real life social circles, which they don't have anymore because they're chronically online, it's shunning, shaming, reputational damage, and character assassination.
It's crazy. Like, you delete X off your phone and like just stay away from it for determinate amounts of time, and you come back and everything seems so much stupider. Like, the context of how often you use an app like that actually matters. Because you know how they say like social media isn't real life? Well, the reason why it feels like real life is because you ostensibly spend more time on that app, or in this case,
just as real as anything else.
It's just as real as anything else. But then you leave and you come back and you're like, holy crap! They're arguing about nothing.
Yeah,
they're arguing like nothing. Like when I came back and people were arguing about Superman, or they're arguing about this and this. I'm like, sure, I have opinions, but I'm not going to argue with people about this stuff. I'm not even going to argue with people about the Epstein list stuff, because you're playing a spectator sport that you have no access to. And it just feels so, as real as it is, it feels so trivial to your actual life, because there's nothing you can do about it. But in this case, it gives them a sense of control. It gives them a sense of power over other people that they relish.
Well, I just watched, I rewatched Mean Girls the other day. And there's this point in the movie where the burn book is exposed to the whole school. And what the Mean Girls had been writing about their peers was now, printed out and thrown all over the school hallways. And then the teachers embark on finding out who did this and why. And when they ask a guy what his opinion is, he tells everybody, well, this stuff was written by a bunch of mean girls who are bored with their own lives. That's it.
Have you ever seen the memes?
So, you would find this kind of social dynamic in real life, but it's now been concentrated online.
Have you ever seen the memes where it's like, when I ask my boyfriend details about something from one of his friends, and it's like, I don't know, didn't ask.
Yeah.
Like, guys just aren't wired this way.
Well, they're not wired that way naturally, but when they engage mostly in online communication, they conform themselves to these forms of, shunning, shaming, character assassination, blacklisting, the rest of it. And they engage in the same sleazy, I think what Tucker Carlson called it with his interview with Ted Cruz, this feline, sleazy feline tactics of underhanded social shaming. Yeah. And it's observable in mostly female online spaces, but you can see it anywhere now.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to... I can't bring myself... I think I saw you put the Destiny post about the kids in the flood. Like that's what happens when you have to pretend to be an edgelord and you spend your entire life online.
Yeah.
No, just reject it. Go out into the real world. I'm telling you, delete X off your phone. You can still check it. You can still use it at night. Go and check your account, or at work. But for the sake of your brain.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Hold, please. For the sake of your own mental health, for the sake of your sanity, just engage in like a smaller period of time in a specific place, and do not just spend your whole day looking at it. Hold, please. There we go.
Well, lastly, I think there's a kudos to her parents as well for shielding her from everything that's being said about her online. And I hope that they encourage her not to cave to these people when she eventually returns to social media, if she decides to at all.
I can't stress enough how dangerous social media is. It's like people don't understand what can happen when you grow a following of that size if something goes wrong. Like, there's no way to prepare for that.
Yeah.
There isn't. And like you said before, these aren't exactly like the smartest people in the world. They're Love Island contestants.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Jordan Peterson is one of the smartest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. And look what social media and being online constantly has done to him. Like, if maybe use that as your benchmark. Like, okay, am I as smart as Jordan Peterson? No.
Yeah. Like, just being smart alone is not enough to train your brain to contend with the way that social media operates. It's not something that the human brain is designed to understand.
And I understand that some people like it. Like, some people love to go on the internet and argue with people. I've never personally, like, I don't understand that. I think of all of it. Maybe it's because I think of every online thread of arguing as if it's taking place in a cave at the bottom. Like it's literally in the middle of nowhere in an isolated space, and you're shouting into the void with another person who's also shouting into the void with you, i.e. the internet. So it always feels so unimportant. And I view mostly like the idea of anything that I have to say as unimportant. Why would I care enough to argue with somebody about it online? But it's not good for you.
No.
Long term, it's not good for you.
No, it's not.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.